Okay, this has to be said. The only reason I don't go more scorched earth on Mr. Mark Calloway, aka The Undertaker, is because I'm taking into consideration that he does have a bias here. Michelle McCool, of course, is his wife. And of course he's going to have a bias towards his wife. And in all honesty, he should. You know, they're husband and wife. But to say the statement that he said, unbelievable. That is some serious denial and almost inadvertently some disrespect towards the women that paved the way for the women's division today. It wasn't just her. Now, don't get me wrong. Michelle McCool, in my opinion, and I will say this again, and I said this to my friends, I've said this on public boards, and I will say this again. Michelle McCool is the prototype of the women wrestler that we're seeing right now. A woman wrestler who happens to be smoking hot, who can actually perform, can actually talk on the mic, and actually has character. That she was the prototype early on. But it wasn't just her. You had Mickie James around that time. You had Beth Phoenix around that time. You also, to a lesser extent, Michelle McCool's old partner Layla at that time. You had Melina at that time. You could even argue Eve Torres. And then later on, AJ Lee, Caitlyn, certainly the Four Horsewomen, Paige, and I know these won't be popular names to put down, the Bellas. You could argue those women had just as much to do, in some certain cases more to do, with the women's division being the way it is today, as Michelle McCool, if not more. Heck, even Natalya, and my girlfriend may not like me saying that, but it is what it is. You can even argue Natalya had just as much or more to do than Michelle McCool. And like I said, don't get me wrong, I'm not going to say she doesn't deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. She is a notable name in WWE lore, especially the women's division. But I just take a great issue with what Undertaker said. And normally, when it comes to wrestling, some of Undertaker's words, there are a lot of things I agree with him on. There's some things I disagree with him on, such as, wrestlers today or a patty cake. I'm just paraphrasing what he said. Oh, back in the old days, we were tough and this and that. Yeah, and half of the guys you came up with from back in the day that were doing drugs and doing this and that, guess where a lot of them now? Can't even take care of themselves or they're dead. But that's a whole nother thing. But there's things that I do agree with him on. And I gotta admit, I did get a chuckle out of him laughing about Hulk Hogan and him getting booed out of the building. I ain't gonna lie, I did get a chuckle out of that. And Undertaker's got good reason to dislike Hulk Hogan. Again, another story. But this, nah, brah. Nah. She was a factor in the women's division. But to act like she is the factor, I get it's your wife and you're only supporting her, but ooh, your opinion doesn't match up with actual history, dude. That's all I gotta say.